Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and another day of moving forward on Project Monster Ram. So we're getting closer and closer to painting, and I just wanted to show you a couple things. You know, when you're going to be repainting a vehicle, you want to go over every panel and you want to look for obviously dents and chips and flaws and stuff like that. So I just want to show you one thing. This is kind of like the final go over, and this may be hard to see, but I was looking at this panel and I don't know if you can see it here. I'll try and get it in the sun. So yep, there it is. So this right there, that's actually a chip. That's actually a little chip in the undercoat. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I take care of that, because if you paint over that and you clear over it, it's going to leave a dimple. Okay, so I've mixed up a little bit of epoxy primer, and what we're going to do is just drop a dab on there. See that? We're just going to drop a dab. It's pretty thick. It's very thick. We're going to wait for that to cure. We're going to come back, wet sand it, and it'll be perfect. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, so this is the stuff that I'm using here. This is a polyester primer surfacer. It's a two-stage, right? You've got the primer, and then there's a hardener that you put into it. So I basically took a little bit and put it in that cup. Basically, I just took the paint stick and stirred up this primer, which it's super thick. When you first buy it, it's all separated out, so you got to mix it a long time. So I dripped some in there, and a drop or two of hardener I put in there, right? And this stuff, I'm telling you, works great. This is almost like spray Bondo, okay? And that's what we're going to use here. Now, years ago, they used to use spot putty. You know, when you were going over imperfections, little scratches or chips in the paint, you'd use spot putty. Well, let me tell you, spot putty is a ball buster, or was, because what happens is you put it on and it dries, but then it continues to dry, and then it shrinks. And, you know, you paint over it, and then unbeknownst to you, in a couple weeks or a month or whatever, it shrinks and you can see it. And once again, that's where you throw everything down, walk in the house and say, I'm not doing this anymore. So very aggravating. So this stuff here, I already treated the fender. I already put some on there. As you can see, that little dip right there, okay? Especially when you mix it a little bit more harder than it's supposed to have. I got some there. I've got some there. And I just put some on here and there. So we'll show you what it looks like when you wet sand that out. But this stuff, it'll take about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. You come back, you wet sand it with 600, and it's like nothing ever happened. And it won't shrink, and it won't cause the paint to deflect because it doesn't shrink. It's a great product. So we'll be back when this cures and I can wet sand it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to sand out this spot that we did. So we're going to wet the area so we have a good lubricant. And we're going to be using our 600 grit wet dry paper on a sanding block. This is a pretty firm sanding block, so just go over it lightly, right in that area. First one way, then you can go the other. And already you could see the outside, the high part going away, revealing the chip. Now at this point, you can barely feel it. But you keep going. Keep going. And gone. Perfect. Can't feel it at all. And there you go. Just a little finishing. And that's how you do that. So when you paint over that, you will see nothing. In 6 months from now, you'll still see nothing. In 2 years from now, you'll still see nothing. Because that is chemically cured. It's not going to shrink at all. It's set. So this is how you avoid big headaches. So onward and upward. I'm laying out the stencil for the driver's side, and I just wanted to show you my process. So what I did here was I temporarily fitted that fender flare, and I've got some fine line tape. I put 3 layers of it, pretty thick, right there on the body, because that is where the ram is going to be jumping, right? So that's going to give me my reference point, because I measured out, and the way it's going to go is the hoof, the front hoof, is going to be about 1.5 inches from this line. Okay, so when I'm laying my stencil, when I put my stencil over here, what it's going to allow me to do is I'll be able to feel with my finger through the stencil. I'll be able to feel that ridge, so I'll know my clearance. Okay, so just a common sense way to figure out fitting. So let me get the stencil fitted, and we will be back. But looks cool with the fender flare, doesn't it? I think it does. It's going to be awesome. So we'll be back. So we're back at it today, and I was up last night, working until about 8 p.m. and got the whole front half of the truck painted, just a base coat black. And then we're going to lay some striping, and then we're going to go over it with some clear, but right now it's just base coat black. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you know, I started this project was going to be just a rocker panel. Then I decided I'm going to do the other rocker panel, right? And then I decided, well, you're going to do all this work. Why don't you paint the whole truck? Okay. And then I thought, if you're going to paint the whole truck, why don't you do all kinds of stuff that you wanted to do? And I'd mentioned before I got some surprises. Well, here's one of the surprises. I like to make things unusual, and this is going to be unusual. So this is what I picked up the other day. I had custom made these paint stencils. This charging ram image I thought was really cool, and so I had it made into a paint stencil, and we're going to apply it, and we're going to paint it. So everything that you see that is white is actually going to be painted a red, and I found this incredible red. It's a Mazda color, and it's called Soul Red Crystal, and it is just an incredible candy type paint. There's a base coat, there's a tint coat, and then the clear, and that, along with the body length stripe, which is going to be similar to what the Challengers had, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to apply this stencil, and we'll be back and show you how we paint it. Here I've got the stencil applied and just about ready to paint. The bed was all scuffed with 800 grit because we're going to top coat it, and of course we're going to do these stripes. So you can see there's air bubbles all over the place. It does not matter. That's okay. As long as all your areas, all of this, all the borders, you don't want any air bubbles, because if there's an air bubble, the paint will go under it. So you got to make sure, kind of be meticulous. I'm going over every one of these. This here, I got to push this back a little bit. You can see that little thing. So we got to make sure that that is super tight. Okay. So we're going to put the other side on. So I got a little bit here. We'll take a squeegee and we will get rid of that. There, didn't even need the squeegee. How about that? So we're getting closer and closer. It's going to be cool. I can't wait. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have another action-packed, drama-filled, incredible episode in the ongoing story of Monster Ram. And today is going to be Clear the Truck Day. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. We are in the second week of October here in Illinois, which means grain, rainy's coming. But we have been blessed with a beautiful weekend. It's 80 degrees, and this is probably my last shot to get this done. So I'm going to show you, we've got everything scuffed, masked, ready to go. I love that stripe, okay? And so, you know, this is not a video on how to do this perfectly. This is a video on how a regular guy could do this at home with at-home stuff. So, when you're painting a vehicle, the things that you really need, tremendously important: cleanliness and really good light. Kind of have neither here, you know, just working in a garage. So what I did was I put some lighting in over here. As you can see, that's going to light up the front end, but I want you to see what I'm working with here. Look at, so this truck barely fits in the garage, okay? And I mean barely. So it's got to go up against the wall. It's got to touch the wall for me to close the garage door. So we're doing the best we can with lighting. And as far as clean is concerned, I've wiped this truck down multiple times with wax and degreaser. One thing we do here, we wet the floor. We wet the floor to keep any dust down. So is this going to be perfect? It's not going to be perfect. But what we are doing is trying to do the best that we can with the surroundings that we have. So the floor is wet to keep dust down. I will have to paint it with the garage door open, which is, that's going to be a bit of a nut buster, but we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we don't have any birds or squirrels that fly in here and dance in my clear coat. So I'm going to mix up the clear and we're going to start. Next time on Project Monster Ram. After months of preparation, the truck is finally painted and ready for finishing. I reveal my process on how to get an absolutely ridiculous mirror-like finish on a vehicle that's been painted in the garage. And with snow on the way and running out of time, an unexpected headache, a transmission line bursts and needs to be replaced. Brotherhood of Dodge is more than cars, it's the trucks too, so help a brother out by liking, subscribing, and sharing this channel as many places as you possibly can, whether it's groups, forums, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. My goal is to get the word out to as many people as possible that when these trucks rust, they can be saved. And I'm going to show you how to do it by yourself in your own garage. Thanks for your help, and see you next time.